What's going on, guys? Slim back here today with episode 3 of Slim Chat. You guys knew it was coming. We're talking about quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! That's right. Shout out to you guys who took the time to check out my community tab. I asked you guys if you wanted me to talk about it. The majority said yes, thank God. I actually thought with option number 2, which was no, sit your old ass down and wait for bingo, because you know, OG. I thought you guys were gonna actually have me wait and play bingo, but never mind. You guys actually wanted me to talk about it, so I'm here to talk about it. And yeah, it's a topic that's just really popular in Yu-Gi-Oh! We've seen a lot of players fall by the wayside and quit, and we'll get into that. But before we do, you guys are probably wondering, Slim, what the hell are you wearing? What I'm wearing, you guys, is actually the sponsor of the new sponsor of the channel, Dank Ritual. So shout out to them for sponsoring the video. What I have is their shoulder bag. You might have actually seen this at other events. It's been around for a while. Shout out to my boy Ruben. He actually was the first person I saw wearing this, and you know, shout out to Dank Ritual. I reached out to them. They were happy enough to send me one to review it while in the video. Now, I've been around for forever. I have gone through more backpacks than you can imagine, and trust me, I love a good backpack, but sometimes I just want to carry the essentials. All I need at an event is literally just my deck box, calculator, a mat, paper, pen, I mean, obviously my identification, so like my wallet, and dice, you know, the essentials. If you know, you know. You also need a good locals bag. This is exactly what it is. I'm tired of always having to carry a backpack, and not only that, how many times have people gotten robbed wearing backpacks? I'm sorry, it just happens. It's a known fact. We've seen it for years. Keep your stuff on yourself at all times instead of wearing your backpack to the front looking stupid. Trust me, we've all done it. I'm so guilty. We're all guilty. But honestly, I just want something simple, something sleek, and I really do like this bag. Just to give you guys a quick idea, it can hold everything you need. Calculator case, shout out to ARG, you guys already know, we're super OG for that. We've got our deck box, of course, by Dank Ritual, so we're able to hold our deck box, we're able to hold that, we're also able to hold our mat that's in here, and you guys can see it's super roomy. And not only that, one thing that I do really like about this bag is that while it is a shoulder bag, it also does include a USB port, so you can literally plug this into like a portable charger and charge your device. That's fantastic. I need my phone for every event. I use Neuron at every event to check cards, especially if my opponent has translations or, you know, has the foreign language cards, just to be sure that I understand the card completely. You know, you use it for a calculator if you're using Neuron, etc. This is fantastic. Can also charge your camera if you're a content creator. So if you know, you know. What I love about it too is that you have extra pockets here. You can literally hold sleeves like their Dank Ritual sleeves. You can also hold your dice, pen and paper. You got this compartment up here as well. You know, if you drive to the event, use hand sanitizer. Shout out to Bath & Body Works because it smells nice. Wish they'd sponsor me, but they won't. And we got the dice, of course. You can literally hold everything in here. And then, of course, you know, it's just a sling pack. It goes in front of you, and that's really what you need. So much better than carrying a big, bulky backpack. So if you guys want to check it out, definitely check out the link in the description below to Dank Ritual. And I want to thank them again for sponsoring today's video. And let's hop into quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! All right, with all that out of the way, you guys already know we have to talk about it. Now, I've watched a lot of videos. I've seen a lot of stuff on content creators as well as, you know, really important players quitting this game. And I kind of wanted to break it down. So what is it that caused people to quit Yu-Gi-Oh? Now, first thing I'm gonna say, it's a known fact. The majority of players, they don't actually quit. They take a break. I was one of those people. 2015, I did it. I missed all of Necros format. Stupidest thing I ever did. I don't want to get into it. It was just the stupidest thing I've ever did. I'll never do it again. Now, I did take another break. Took another break when I got married. Obviously. Gotta plan the wedding. Gotta focus on that. Super important. You know, still played a little bit. Like, I can't even say I really took a break. I just didn't pay as much attention to the format and didn't really pick up cards or anything. But we've all taken breaks at some form or another. So I kind of broke it down. There are actually like 4 main reasons I feel that people quit Yu-Gi-Oh! And these are my thoughts on them. So the first one we're gonna get into is for professional reasons. And you're probably wondering, what the hell is a professional reason to quit Yu-Gi-Oh? Professional reason is just your life priorities. It can be your career. If you recently got a new job, take it from someone who's had a lot of different jobs over the years. Sometimes you're not gonna get that cushy 9 to 5 with weekends off. Sometimes you're gonna get some fucked up shifts. I've had shifts where you start at 4:30 in the afternoon going to like 1:30 in the morning. Trust me, it's not it. And you don't have weekends off. And you know what happens during weekends? Events. So a lot of times you are just stuck working. Sometimes that's what happens. You know, it is what it is. You know, you gotta put your grown man pants on and, you know, get stuff done. But a lot of times, one of the main reasons is professional reasons. You're focusing on your career. You're trying to advance yourself. You may have a family. You may have a spouse. You may have, you know, a significant other. You may have kids. Those reasons, completely understandable. Yu-Gi-Oh is a hobby. Remember that. At the end of the day, Yu-Gi-Oh is a hobby. For some, it's a job, and I'll get into that. But for most, myself included, it's always been a hobby. This has never been my job. I've made content for over 10 years, but has it ever been a job? Fuck no. This is just something I get on here to talk about because, I mean, I've been around the block forever. Like, I know the majority of players in the game, and I've seen it all, and I'm still learning it all as we go. But you definitely want to focus on your main things. Like, I have a job, I have a career, I have a wife, I have, things I want to focus on, things I want to do. Yu-Gi-Oh is a hobby. Am I going to quit Yu-Gi-Oh because of that? Absolutely not. But some people have to. Some people need to actually break away from the game or take a break for a small period so that they are able to kind of recharge themselves and focus and, kind of shift their focus to what's important. And I fully respect that. Anyone here should fully respect that, especially for those of us who are like me in your 30s. Like, you have to understand, you're going to get to a point in your life where, you've got to nut up or shut up, as I always say, and literally, find a career, find a, significant other, if that's really what you want to do with your life. Get it all together. Yu-Gi-Oh's not going anywhere. It is still there. Like, when I took that terrible break, and I'm going to keep coming back to that because it's the stupidest thing I ever did. Thank God the game was still here when I got back. It felt like I never left, but trust me, I felt it in my heart because I was gone for so many months that it just felt like I was so out of the loop, but I was welcomed back with open arms and I caught back up. And trust me, the game will always be here. If you take anything away from this video, remember, the game will always be here in some shape or form, more so now than ever. So that's the number one reason I think most people quit, is for professional reasons, and it's fully understandable. The next reason, financial reasons. This could actually kind of go into professional reasons. This game is expensive as shit. It really is. Like, this game is super expensive. Like, reprints are a godsend. Like, thank you every day for every reprint that comes out. Those who know me know I have always said I wish we had access to every card like Japan does in low rarity, so that we all would have the same card pool. We'd all have access to the same card pool. There'd never be disadvantages at events. You would really get challenged, knowing that your opponent has the same access to the same exact cards you do. But I digress. It's still something we're dealing with, but it is getting better with all the reprints and all the rarity collections, so I'm super happy for that. Financial reasons are one of the biggest ones. Cards are expensive. Regionals, not really expensive. You pay like 25 bucks, you get your 5 packs, you kind of break even. If you pull something good in the packs, it's great. Those are one-day events. They're not really a huge time commitment, especially if they're in your city or nearby, somewhere you can drive to. But it's when you get to the YCSs and the Nationals that it gets kind of complicated. 9 times out of 10, you gotta fly. Unless you're a maniac who drives everywhere, and shout out to all you hardcore Yu-Gi-Oh players that drive everywhere. Like, I couldn't do it. Y'all are the goats, because I just don't know how y'all do it. 10, 12 hours, even longer driving to events. You guys are insane. Your cars are insane. Like, yeah, you get my full salute for that, because that is crazy. Now, one of the main things too is that, okay, you want to go to YCS. You got to get airfare. You got to get a hotel. You've got food. You've got cards if you haven't gotten everything. Like, there are all the things that added up. And a lot of times, it's a lot of money. Now, there has been a huge debate, shout out to my son, Triff, because he posted about, that he is retiring from Yu-Gi-Oh events. I want people to get this straight. He is just retiring from going to in-person YCSs and big events. Is he quitting the game? Fuck no. If there's one person who I will say loves Yu-Gi-Oh more than I do, it's definitely Triff. And I love my son. He's insane. Like, he's a YCS champion for a reason, and he is not quitting Yu-Gi-Oh completely. He is just taking a back seat from events, and he's going to train champions. And trust me, that is something that players do. Shout out to Hani. I know he is the reason why we have so many YCS champions, and he is one of the people behind the scenes now, a previous multiple YCS champion himself, who has literally molded players into the success stories that they are today. So I definitely respect it, and I fully understand it. Financially, it's just not lucrative. It's not to spend all that money just to make what? Make top 32, and we'll get into the next topic. You guys know what it is going to be. It's going to be on prize support. But for most people, the financial reasons in Yu-Gi-Oh are why they quit. They just can't keep up with it. Now, of course, you can play online. Don't cost online. But if you're trying to play IRL, it costs. If you're fortunate enough to have a sponsor that provides you with everything, you're super lucky. If you're fortunate to have people that will lend you cards, you're super lucky. But we're not all built the same. We're not all fortunate enough to have access to that. So for the people that can't, a lot of times they have to give it up, and that is unfortunate. You can still play Yu-Gi-Oh through Master Duel. It's free. If you're farming in it, if you're whaling in it, I mean, whatever. I haven't spent a dime in that game, and I have access to everything, so I just don't know. But that's a whole other topic for another day. But that is one of the other reasons. It's financial reasons. You got to put your priorities straight. Pay your bills, pay your rent, pay your adult shit, pay your grown man shit before you get Yu-Gi-Oh. It's just common sense. And you know, I know a lot of people lack common sense. It's a known fact, but honestly, do it because you have to. Like, you know, be an adult, put your priorities first. And a lot of times financially, Yu-Gi-Oh is not a great financial decision unless, you know, you're making a living off of it or a side hustle off of it. So financial reasons are another reason. I already brought it up, so we'll talk about prize support. That's the next topic. So prize support. Yeah, prize support is ass. Do you expect me to say it was good? It's not. Been around forever. It's not. It's crazy. Back in the day, those prize cards, those Cybersteins, those Crush cards, those Gold Starks, those Shrinks, man, those were insane. The laptops they used to give away, those were also insane. But prize support is not great. I've said it before. The best prize support would be travel accommodation. It's the most expensive part of this game next to the cards. Flying out of state, flying out of country, which some players do, costs a lot of money. It adds up, and it's definitely something that I wish they just give more prize support. Packs don't really cut it. The frame from IKEA don't cut it. The dice, they're cool, but they still don't cut it. The mats and stuff, the sleeves, they're good additions. I'm glad our price support is getting better. I still believe that our price support will get better. So I still do fully believe that it will get better over time. We just need to catch up with Japan. We need to get better things. And honestly, while we may not get money, I don't care about that. I just wish we'd get better price support because that would keep more players around. Because a lot of players quit because they feel like it's not worth it to go through a 2-day grueling YCS just to get a mat in top 32. It's just not worth it. So I had to bring up the prize support. I don't really complain about it. It's just facts. We know what it is. We don't play for the prize support. 9 times out of 10 we play because we love it. But you know, for some people, they want some financial return. They want to be able to, you know, break even, and a lot of times they don't even do that. So I digress. I hope the prize support gets better. And last but not least, format fatigue. Now, before I get into that, like I said, there are some players who actually do make a significant living off this game. And you're probably thinking there's no way in hell they can do that. Trust me, there are ways. There are things like you got to read between the lines. There are a lot of ways that players can do it. There's the coaching, there's the spreadsheets. If you guys want me to talk about that, I will talk about that. I'll put another poll up next week. I have very in-depth, like, you know, opinion on that because my answer to that would actually probably shock you guys. I'm not as against it as most people are, to tell you the truth, just saying. But, you know, they find ways to turn Yu-Gi-Oh into a hustle, whether it's being a vendor, whether it's, you know, selling on TCG Player, whether it's, you know, doing coaching, doing spreadsheets, doing whatever. Players find a way. They find a way. Maybe they have sponsors. I think a lot of people forget. A lot of these players that go to every event, they are sponsored. So a lot of times, a lot of their finances are covered because of their performance. And there are, of course, stipulations and all of that. You know, I'm sure there's contracts and stuff players sign. It's, you know, I know it sounds crazy. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh to most people, but trust me, to some of these players, this is what they do. And you know what? Shout out to them. I'm not going to knock on them. You know, some days I wish I could play Yu-Gi-Oh full time. I wish I was that good. I'm not. I'm shit. So I wish I could do it, but I can't. So it's just something that, you know, some players have the ability to do. Content creators make enough money. So, you know, some of them do who do this full time. They make it back on their videos. They turn that revenue into cards. The cards turn into what they need for the content, and it's an ongoing cycle. It's an ongoing loop. It's not hard to figure out. Like, it really is something that when you really think about it, it's really not that hard to figure out. So for some players and some content creators, they're able to do it. You know, shout out to them. They always get my full salute. I think that that's something that if that's what you've always wanted to do and you're able to make it a reality, you know, you did it, man. You did it. Like that's fucking awesome. So I'm all for it. But the last part that I want to talk about to wrap up this video, because it's running a little long, is the format fatigue. Players get tired of the format. They get tired of the same shit. Hand trap battles, break my board battles, all that nonsense. Seen it all, done it all, been through it all, except Necros. Gotta always add that there. It wasn't there for Necros, so I didn't experience it. But every other format I've experienced it. The break my board, build my board, hand trap this, hand trap that, throw a chummy, throw this, throw that. Every format, you know, we've seen it all. And some players just get tired of it. They get tired of it and they want to do something else. Now, what do players do? A lot of times they just walk away from the format, take a break, they wait till the format's better. What other players do? They go to old formats. Yo, shout out to Ultimate Time Wizard. I'm a huge proponent of that, by the way. Like, I have nothing against retro formats. I played in retro formats back in the day, and if I wasn't so into competitive Yu-Gi-Oh! In the sense that I still like this modern format, I totally dip over into the old formats. I loved it. I think it's awesome, and you know, I love the player base that plays that because it's just amazing to be able to play old Yu-Gi-Oh! And kind of get that old feel for what it used to be. So a lot of players will dip into that, or a lot of players may just leave. Now, it is sad when players quit Yu-Gi-Oh! Yu-Gi-Oh! It does make me sad because obviously it's something that's so big in my life. Like, do I need to show it again? I always show it, I feel like, every video now, but you guys already know. It's tatted on my arm because of how much it means to me and to Johnny. You guys already know, we love this game. You know, it brings you together with some of the best people that you have in your life. And it's something that it does suck when you do quit, but I fully understand it. And what players have done is nowadays, instead of quitting, they go to older formats or they take a break. And I think that's the best advice I can give is if you really do love this game, find a way to stay in it. Maybe you become a Master Duel player. I don't know. I've tried. I can't fully commit to it. It just isn't the same, but you know, it is something that you play on the side, but it is, you know, something that some players do, and you know, that is amazing. And you can find plenty of success doing that. And honestly, sometimes if you're not whaling into the game, like, yeah, it's a hell of a lot cheaper, but quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! Is something that, you know, unfortunately does happen to some people. Will they come back? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. And for the ones that do come back, they come back for a reason. They come back for, you know, the passion that they had for the game. They find a way to come back. And that's what I always believe is most players, if they can find a way to come back, they will, because it is a part of us. And I think it's something that, you know, should be celebrated. But that's all I got. I don't want to ramble anymore. Quitting Yu-Gi-Oh! Is crazy. Never going to do it. I'll still be playing till I'm old and gray. If I can, hopefully, like if I can still mentally function and still be able to play the cards. And you know, if I don't play it with real cards, I'll play it digitally. Like, you know, there's always a way. So I'm a firm believer. I think that, you know, unless you have real reasons to quit or you just fall out of love with the game, because trust me, it happens to some players. Some players just gross out of it and they just don't want it anymore, and I fully get it. But if you're one of those players that, you know, for the reasons I mentioned, those 4 main reasons, you know, again, professional reasons, financial reasons, prize support, or format fatigue. If those are the reasons, I get it, but you can always come back. You can always find a way to stay with the game. And remember, the game will always welcome you back with open arms. Don't ever forget that. The game will always be here. So that's all I got for today, you guys. I've rambled enough. Check out all the sponsors down below. Check out Deck Rituals again for the awesome bag and stuff, you know, as far as mats, sleeves, deck box, etc., etc. Also check out my eBay if you're looking for some awesome Yu-Gi-Oh! Merch that I do have from back in the day. Yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm content with Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now. We're about to go into Allen format. It's going to be wild. Mouse is going to be a bitch, but, you know, it is what it is. You know, we prepare for every format, we adapt, and, you know, we move on. That's just what we do over here. But that's all I got. Hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, next week's episode, if you guys really want it to be, will be on spreadsheets and coaching and all that wild jazz, because people got some crazy opinions on it, some crazy just takes on it, and honestly, I'm just going to tell you how it is, because, again, I've seen it before, and I just have different opinions. But hopefully you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you thought of this topic in the comment section down below, and I will see you guys in the next video. Thank you for watching.